The Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, kinda power. I love the power. I love the power.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast, a show about all things Port Adelaide Footy Club. I'm your host Macca 19, and joining me as always, we've got Fishing Rick. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, great, mate. What about you?
Pretty good.
And guess what?
What?
Tango's back.
Oh, he's back. Go
Yes.
Tango.
Tango is
The welcome
back.
return.
So make no controversial comments. And don't talk soccer or Tango is just going to squeal all night long.
Yeah, it's very disappointing start to the Man United era. Welcome to Manchester did not work. And back on the podcast for the first time in quite a long time is DonDraper.
Hey guys, how are ya?
Good to have you back, buddy.
It's a pleasure to be here. You guys have been doing a fantastic job this season.
Oh, he can come back anytime, man.
We like compliments. Yeah. Compliments are great. And all right, well, let's get straight into it. Love and hate. Rick, I'll start with you, mate. What's your love and hate?
Well, I'm going to love the fact that we're in the finals for the second year in a row. And I understand that people are a bit disappointed that we're not secured in the top four. But as far as I'm concerned, we're most likely not going to finish lower than fifth or sixth. And, I'm just over the moon. That's an improvement on last season. We're making progress and we're making a nice strong charge come final. So that's my love. And I've got a two-pronged hate today. I've been sitting here talking with Tango and we've both decided that we hate cancer and motor neuron disease and it's just not good. I'm very sad to read that story about, it's Neil Danaher, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, I found it very uplifting, his comments, and I'm going ad lib here, but his comment about people diagnosed with motor neuron disease usually die within 27 months. But he's hoping to day by day and hopefully add some more runs to the scoreboard. So I just found that very uplifting to read such a positive comment from a man in his position. And my other football-related hate is the rumour that Melbourne's asking for a friggin' priority pick. And I'll be pissed as a Port supporter after how we had to go through hell and didn't get anything if they get a priority pick again.
Well said, Tango. I would hope they don't get one, to be honest. I would have thought they've won more than enough games this year to justify not getting one. Donnie, what's your love and hate, mate?
Rick, you've actually stolen both my love and my hate.
Oh!
But,
Sick burn.
but I'm sure I can come up with others. On playing finals again, I think it does need to be acknowledged that it is another fantastic achievement by a very young playing group, and our coaches and playing staff deserve all the credit for making the finals 2 years back to back, because 2011, 2012 was still pretty fresh in my memory, and it's just great to be back there again. I mean, we all knew from pretty early on this year that we were pretty sure we'd make the finals, but it's still great to finally lock that in. But I'll go for a different love then. I will go for my favourite player in the AFL, in Robbie Gray. He has just been so fantastic the past month, even the past season, yeah. And on Saturday, just his clearance work, like he's now officially an elite midfielder. I don't think there's any real doubt about that. He's just been fantastic, and hopefully, I think the AFL Coaches Award votes come out tomorrow, and hopefully he gets another 10. And with Fife missing the last 2 games and Josh Kennedy injured, he's a good chance to win it. So good luck to him.
He's a big chance. Gotta love Robbie.
How clean is his picking up of the ground these days of the ball?
Incredible.
It's just amazing.
It is incredible.
And he hardly fumbles when he's in that position. It's just so clean and crisp. It's just it's in football terms, it's beautiful to watch.
You know, we always knew that he had we had this sort of in him. It was just always sort of injuries and getting his body right. That was going to be the main factor, I think. And he's done that this year. And look, he's a big chance for the Brownlow as well.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that too. He has to be a big smoky because Well, I think a lot would depend on how he goes. Like, I thought he was best on ground against Sydney, right? With 37 touches, 12 clearances, I think he had. But he could get one vote there, when I think he probably should get three. So I think a lot will depend on that. I don't know. The Brownlows are a funny one. It's hard to pick. I mean, they're saying today they reckon. I mean, Dyson Heppel and Jordan Lewis could be smokies there. So I think it's going to be a really interesting Brownlow this year. What I love just on Gray, when he reads the tap off Lobi's ruck work, he just seems to just find there can be three players around him, but he's like the world just slowly like revolves. Like he's just has so much time to make decisions, and he's just never like panicked. It's just great to watch. He's a very rare player in that regard, I think.
Yeah, he's got that Pendlebury sort of skill of
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, but every young midfielder today seems to be compared to Scott Pendlebury. So
true.
I didn't want to say Pendlebury, but
Well, what's your hate this week?
well, it was Melbourne asking for a draft pick. That's all right, Rick. I'm gonna go with it's a bit an odd one. Just Collingwood on the weekend. Just watching them play Brisbane and losing Pendlebury before the game, and I think Elliott, and then having Cloak, Beams, and Reid go down, and how poor they've been. Yet the week that we played them, all those weeks ago, we get viral meningitis, and half our team has gastro.
Yeah,
It's just it just shits me, and it's a bit unrelated, but it just bugged me. And that was their grand final against us, and they've been pathetic ever since. So
Yep. My love this week is it's got to be Hammer's form this year. I mean, he's just gone up another level again this year. He had a pretty good year last year, still a little bit inconsistent. But I think he's really worked on his game this year and turned those sort of really poor games that he had last year and raised the bar, raised the floor of his game this year. And he rarely plays a bad game anymore. He's someone that I've been pretty critical of over the last sort of 2 or 3 seasons. But, he's been in fantastic form this year, and, he's well on track to becoming up there with Boak and Gray as our best midfielders, I would think.
Yeah, it's a good call. Good call, Macca. I actually noticed that against the Gold Coast, and me and you have probably both been very critical of him at times, and only because we have high expectations. But to me, I think I've noticed over the last probably 6 to 8 weeks, he's really starting to string that consistency along, and his hardness at the contest as well. Now he's putting his body on the line on multiple occasions every game, so I think he's now starting to get real confidence in his body, and I think 2015 might be watch out for Hamish.
Absolutely. And my hate this week is the hate for our win on the weekend on the forums. Just a lot of doomsdayers out there. I thought it was a really good, tough, hard win under terrible conditions, and everyone complains that we should have won by 10 goals. I mean, I just don't think it was ever going to happen that way in those conditions, and especially with Gold Coast parking the bus and having, 3/4 of their side parked inside our defensive 50. It was always going to be very, very hard to kick goals. I thought we controlled the play pretty much all day, and it was inevitable that we were going to win. Sure, we could have won by more and probably should have won by more. But look, I'll take that. I'll take a 9-point win over the Gold Coast away in horrible conditions.
Yeah, so would I.
I guess it's when it's like really, really tight at the end there, and you feel like statistically we're winning every single major category, and you get that sinking feeling that they got within 3 points. It could have been very, very bad there. It would have been one of the worst losses ever. So I can kind of see both sides, but yeah.
Well, it's just honestly a win's a win, and I mean, look, if that was dry and we won by 9 points, yeah, fair enough. I'd be overly critical, but I mean, you know what? They congested the forward line, which we're probably going to talk to anyway in a sec. But I'd rather still kick long to a congested forward line in those conditions than start to chip it and handball it around and overpossess it in the midfield, which would have been diabolical even if we started playing that sort of gameplay.
We got the power to win, power to roll. Come on, for Adelaide aggression. We are the power from home.
Well, look, let's jump to our AFL review. Obviously, we played Gold Coast at Metricon Stadium on Saturday afternoon. It was bucketing down with rain for most of the game, and we won 7 goals 14 to 7 goals 5. It was a 9-point victory. Certainly wasn't pretty. There were no multiple goal scorers for Port Adelaide this week. Although Schultzy, Westhoff got one as well. Hammer and Gray.
Hey.
What?
Westy just didn't get one.
He got the goal of the century. That's what he got.
Look at that. You EPL boys. What sort of goal was that?
I'm surprised you actually liked that, Rick. Yeah, given your hate of the round ball game, it was a great goal.
No,
that was a Ruud van Nistelrooy special. That was a master tap in. It was fantastic.
What I was really happy with on the game was our effort. Like, I thought that really translated over from the Swans game. I thought against Sydney we were really good in terms of our just cracking our skills that cost us. And on Saturday, I didn't know how we'd approach it. Obviously, playing in front of 50,000 on a Saturday night against Sydney, you kind of get up for it. Playing in front of, I think there was 10,000 there on Saturday. In terrible conditions. The players mentally might not have been there, but I thought we were. I thought that our effort for the whole game was really good. I mean, we started pretty slowly, but I think it was Ford on Big Footy said the players were a bit taken back by the late omissions of Gussie and Jacko. I don't think they really knew what was going on with Gus. It's a bit understandable, I guess. But I feel if we had got the jump on them, the game would have been completely different. But because they kicked the first 2 goals in a day where there weren't going to be many goals kicked, we were always going to be behind the 8 ball. So that's, I guess, what I was a bit frustrated with, was that we had to work so hard just to get back on level pegging.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't hit the lead till the third quarter. And I just think if we hit the lead earlier, it might have opened them up a bit more to try and take us on, and then it could have been a much different game. But it's hard to really gauge from those conditions. I think Hinkley pretty much said that after the game.
You're right. I thought we really controlled our midfield. You know, they just dominated. Lobie was an absolute monster in the ruck, playing against a pretty young ruckman in Gorringe. He really controlled the pace of the game and really fed our midfielders really well. Going by the stats, you know, we just peppered the forward 50. We controlled the back line really well, despite the fact that Gold Coast decided to put most of their team in our defensive 50. I thought it was a really good decision to keep ours in position. So our half back line just did a monster job. You know, O'Shea was fantastic, Brody was fantastic, as was Jonas as well. And they really controlled the pace of the game, I thought. And it was just, for me, it was just a matter of time before we hit the front again. You know, a lot of those shots on goal in the second quarter were just sort of snaps around the body, and you know, they just missed and all that sort of stuff. And I think I commented at half time on the forum that, you know, marks inside 50 are going to be really crucial in the second half, and if we can get a few of them, that'll go a really long way on helping us win. And I thought we were pretty lucky in that we got, I think it was 4 marks inside 50 in the second half, and we scored goals from all of them.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I think the thing that I'm really impressed with at the moment, and I was highlighted against the Sydney game, is our defensive 6. You know, and Jackson really wasn't in there for a lot of the Sydney game, and then obviously didn't play on for the Gold Coast. But you know how such a key figure in our team game plan has been missing, and the boys are really starting to stand up. And Tom Jonas is taking his game back to another level since Alapati's come back as well. And for me, it's the defensive grouping that's really the shining light for us. And now the midfield's getting back to their consistent levels of which we knew. So I even thought the forward pressure from our forward 6 was also an improvement as well. We probably still fell over with our delivery in the forward lines, and I know that's where people have been overly critical, and I can understand that. And that's where we're still needing to probably just put the icing on the cake, as far as I'm concerned.
Wasn't Jonas fantastic in that last quarter? He
absolutely.
He seemed to be absolutely everywhere. And I mean, we all love TJ, but I think he's dropped off a bit in recent weeks. It was good to have him back to his best. Just a general hardness. I mean, those conditions, he would have loved it, I reckon.
Yeah, that's
just
the best game
throwing his body around. Yeah, definitely. It just seemed the first 10 minutes of the last quarter, he was a real leader for us. You know, he was just getting to everything, marking everything. Yeah, it was fantastic to see.
Yep.
Well, he seems to be playing natural football again, whereas he went through a 4 to 6 week patch there where he seemed to be really thinking about what he was doing before he was doing it, and now he's just gone back to just doing what he does. So maybe with Trengove and Alapati out, it sort of exposed him and he had to overthink what he was doing. But absolutely, just playing his natural game, and that's the key for us. And he's going to be a fantastic player in future years. But and hopefully he's going to be very instrumental this year.
Yeah.
I think the omissions of Trengove and Carlisle, like even if his form did drop off, I think in the long run he's going to be better for it. He's probably learned a lot more about his own game, and we'll probably grow in confidence from that.
Yeah.
I mean, if he plays like he did against Gold Coast for the rest of the year, we'll be pretty bloody happy. So
you think we got a bit of a free kick with Dixon getting off injured pretty early on in the piece? Because especially
Absolutely.
with Trengove out, I was a little bit worried that their 3 tolls were going to have a bit of a free hit there.
yeah, it probably was a bit fortunate. I think in those conditions though, like having their players go down is probably not as big a loss as it is on a dry day, because it's just a log jam. I mean, I guess you'd probably be knackered afterwards, but during the game it's probably not as ineffective against like a fast track. So.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It'd be interesting to have the data on the GPS figures from a day like Saturday compared to a dry track to see how much more or less running there is on that sort of day. But, it's usually kick to a contest, stoppage, kick to a contest, stoppage. There's not that repeat gut running. I guess that's what you'd be alluding to there.
Yeah. When you think about how much ruck work Matt Loby did on Saturday, it's pretty phenomenal. Like, he had a really great game for us.
He did, yeah.
He would be knackered after that game.
Yeah.
Well, Macca, you would have been happy. 16 disposals, dominated the hit-outs, 12 tackles. And, I mean, that's what you and me have been crying out for, more influence with possessions during the game.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I thought that was just about his best game for the season. The quality of opponent is probably questionable. He's probably had sort of lesser figures but better output against better opponents throughout the year. But he dominated the way that the game was played, so good on him there. Jared Polek, where's he at? He's had a pretty good season, but still obviously a lot of work to do with his consistency.
His assist to Matt White was fantastic, but he just didn't get enough of the ball on the weekend. Certainly wasn't a day that suited him, but his general last 5-6 weeks been really poor. I still have faith in Jared. I think he can. I think he's the kind of player that can really hurt a side with not that many touches. Like his as he think he had 4 on the weekend, didn't he? And he got a goal assist.
Yeah.
But I would actually like to see him as sub on Friday. I think that might just give him a bit of a reminder, spark him up a bit, yeah, and then come on at the end and try and carve up Carlton. But
no, he's too influential, I think, to play as a sub. I think it need to be weather permitting. If it's sort of maybe really dewy like the Essendon game, it might be worth a thought. If it's a dryish night like the Sydney game before it started raining, what I'm saying is there wasn't much dew with the Sydney game, so it wasn't as slippery. Well, then I think you sort of got to leave him in because he commands a strong play to play against him. No one's going to let him run free now, and he's very influential when he's got the ball. So I don't know if we've got a player that's going to replace him with that much impact in the reserves at this point in time. So I'd more be inclined to keep Aaron Young in, who I think was serviceable in those conditions, but coming off his foot injury, if he holds his place, I think he'd probably be the natural sub for this week as well, I'd imagine.
Travis Boak, the captain, how did we see his game? There was a few people that were reasonably critical of his performance on the weekend, but I thought he had an absolutely fantastic game. He certainly didn't get the quantity of ball and had a pretty hard time on the outside, but I thought his inside work was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. He was always seemed to be at the bottom off a pack. I mean, he didn't get that good numbers, and I think that glaringly bad holding the ball call when he tried to take the plays on just got blindsided and tackled. Is that probably standing out in people's minds? But I thought Trav was all right. Like, he wasn't fantastic. He certainly wasn't terrible though.
Yeah.
So we've got
Hopefully.
two brain trusts of the big footy boards on here in Macca and DonDraper, and everyone's critical of our forward line and our forward structure. How could we have played our forward line more efficiently on Saturday to have maybe netted those extra 4 or 5 goals that people were looking for?
My main issue on Saturday probably wasn't with our forwards. Our forward structure annoyed me in the first. I think there was a bit of play in the first quarter where we went forward and there was no one in our forward line, and that annoyed me. But it was more so our kicking for goal. And I know they're tough conditions, but I think we've got to move the ball in quicker. Like there was Schultz's goal was a perfect example where we moved the ball quickly, and Youngie just went in, and Schultz, I think he was only one out, so he was only one out probably 2 or 3 times in the whole game. So it is hard when, as you said, Macca, when they just have 3 to 4 loose back. What can you really do? You know, you got to try and pinpoint a ball in atrocious conditions. So, but we still had scoring shots.
Yeah, as El Scorcho said on the forum, I think there's not really much he can really take out of this game because A, it was really, really wet, and B, the opposition really didn't give themselves a great chance of winning. I thought Gold Coast played to not lose on the weekend as opposed to playing to win. I thought they had a good chance to win the game. You know, they got off to a good start, but then just parked the bus in our defensive half of the ground, and you know, it just wasn't a great way to try and win yourself a game of footy, I don't think. And I don't really think you can take anything out of our forward structure on the weekend because we were leaving players forward. And we really didn't have any other choice but to do that because they had, 7 or 8 people in our defensive 50.
Yeah.
There's not much you can really take out of that game, I don't think.
That's
what do
what I
you
was
think of
saying
Andrew Moore in the forward line?
I like Andrew Moore on the forward line.
Yeah.
I thought he was really shaky early. I think something that you notice at SANFL level is just how sure he is with the ball in his hands. And as we were saying before, it looks like he's got so much time with the ball. But when he comes up to AFL level, I think he sort of frets a little bit and gets rid of the ball a bit too quickly than what he really needs to do. I don't think I think he thinks that he doesn't have the time to dispose of it when he actually does.
But that comes with confidence.
Does come with confidence, and it'll come with more game time with Andrew Moore.
Yeah.
He's been out of the AFL system most of the year. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty happy with his second half. At halftime, I was thinking, God, he's struggling, but he had a really, really good second half.
He did look like he was short of a gallop, though. He looked a little bit slower than most.
Yeah.
Is he playing the forward line, do you reckon, to get a bit more fitness? So he can just slowly work back into being an AFL midfielder full time, or do you think it's a tactical thing, just having him? He's a bigger bodied player, so he'd be a difficult matchup.
I think it was just simply Monfries went out, so Moore took his role in the team this week because the last 2 weeks he has been playing pretty much predominantly as a midfielder.
Yeah, fair enough. Sorry, Rick. Really like Jake Need's last 2 games too. I think I thought he was good on Saturday, and I reckon he could be a bit of a finals wild card for us. He's a pretty dangerous, explosive player. But what I really love about Jake Need is just he's always smiling. He reminds me of Dwight Yorker a bit, and he's always just so happy. Yeah. His love of footy is just infectious. I'd rather us not go to him as a target man, which seemed to be the option at times on Saturday. It was infuriating. But if he can position himself better to crumb at Schultz and Westhoff, he's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, he seems to be full of confidence at the moment, and although he didn't have a scoring shot on the weekend, I thought he played a really good game in that forward 50. Really helped to get things going, and I think, not that I've got the figures, but I think if you were to look at his sort of score involvements, it would have been pretty high.
Yeah. He keeps the spot for Friday, right? Surely.
Absolutely.
I think so. Yeah.
He's playing with the confidence that he started 2013 with.
Yeah.
And then after about 7 or 8 games, it sort of disappeared, I don't know, through fatigue or whatever. But he seems to have come back in with that confidence. You can see he's a lot stronger around his neck and his shoulders now. So he's physically a bit more stronger than last year. He's still laying those tackles against the big boys like he did last year. And, he's a fantastic tackler for us. And And you could see, I noticed in I think it was the third quarter, when I think that's when we were kicking to the right of screen. He was having the confidence to tell Westhoff where to position himself in the forward line. So obviously he's come into the side believing in himself and having the confidence to actually communicate and talk strategy with his teammates. So I think it would be foolish to be dropping him out of the side with the first 2 games he's played since coming back.
Yeah.
No, you just never know sometimes what the coach is going to do, especially with Gussie coming back in on Friday. Well, I think Gussie will come back in on Friday. I would really hope Jakey stays, but yeah.
I don't, to be honest. I mean, this is for Thursday, I guess, but I'd be hoping that maybe Angus comes through the Maggies and really gets some confidence in his body. I mean, he's a first team 22 player, no doubt, but I really feel like he needs to get a bit of confidence in his body again.
I'd still like to see Gus's sub this week if he comes back in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good, decent call.
Now, Chatty Wingard, he kicks the sealer on the weekend. He looked pretty excited about that. Is that the spark that he needs to get back to clutch Wingard level of dominance?
Absolutely.
I was a bit annoyed at his celebration.
Steady on, Don.
I thought he had a
bad
game. I thought he had a bad game, and I was very happy he kicked it, and I knew he would kick it, but I don't know. When he first did, I thought it was a bit of a look at me, and I said, "Chad, pull your head in. You've done nothing today." But that's just me. I have very high standards for Chad.
You'd be happy, Don. I went out shopping at Spotlight today for you and got some new needles for you. I upgraded your size 12 knitting needles to size 14. I'll be sending those in the post here with your apricot slices tomorrow. All right?
I just like my players to actually contest. No, that's fair enough. I just like my players to actually contest, and I thought Chad was pretty soft in the last quarter.
Overall, I thought he was competitive with his forward pressure. I mean, the other one was people criticising Andrew Moore going up, bumping the Gold Coast player. Boys got to have a bit of competitive spirit about him and sort of celebrate.
Was it Trent McKenzie?
Pardon?
Was it Trent McKenzie and Moore? They had something going on all game, it seemed.
Yeah, they were bustling each other around pretty much all game.
Yeah.
So good on him for getting in his face, I reckon.
Yeah, that's right. We want a bit of mongrel. We want a bit of spunk in our players. And you know what? If commentators, good old Robert Walls, bless his heart, or other team supporters don't like it, well, then we must be doing well on the footy field again.
Bring back the bow.
I'm all for arrogant Chad, but I'd like him to kick maybe 3 or 4 before when he starts to get really arrogant. That's when I love Chad.
I want to see all of our players bow after every single goal for the rest of the year. That's what I want to see.
As long as we're 2 goals up. Well, maybe they should all do a Troy Chaplin. Every goal, buddy, pull the logo on their jersey.
That's it.
No?
There's
one last can of worms that I want to bring up, and I know you said that he had a good game, Macca, but there's one thing that's starting to irk me a little bit, is Cam O'Shea's one-arm tackles. He got no tackles against Sydney, and he only had 1 tackle on the weekend, and I reckon it was dubious if it was even a tackle. But he just seems to fling out that one arm at an opponent and just really make sort of a half-assed effort at tackling. And he's really got to ramp up his defensive pressure there, in my opinion, and get a bit stronger with the tackles.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And probably also, I reckon he over handballs it a little bit too much, and there's a lot of opportunities where he could probably just run and kick the ball where he's trying to look for that little one touch give handball, which not as I'll spit it out, isn't always to the receiving player's advantage.
Yep. No, that's a fair call. Yep, he definitely needs to work on his tackling. He's probably the worst tackler in our team, if not the entire squad.
And he's got the body to be a good tackler.
He does, and I don't think it's a softness issue, because he always backs back into packs. He's prepared to cop the hit. I think it's just his technique is just off, and it needs a lot of work. Simple as that.
I agree.
Get Josh Cardwell to train him.
Get in. Well, who were your best players, Donnie? I'll start with you, mate.
My best players were I had Robbie Gray, best on. I said it earlier. I think it was just absolutely fantastic. Should get the 3 Brownlow votes. And then Matt Lobe was brilliant. I know we talked about it earlier, but his ruck work all day, and there was so many stoppages, was just fantastic. Third best, I had Tom Jonas.
Yep.
No, sorry, I had Hamish Hartlett. Hammer's last month, yeah, has been really good. I'd want him to go for more goals, though. That's my only issue on Hammer. A few times in the first quarter, he looked to square it up to the top of the square, and that was an instruction. But he can dub goals from anywhere, so we should give him license to shoot. Tom Jonas had a great game and looks back to his best. And last, I think I had Justin Westhoff, who I thought was very, very serviceable all game. Kicked that great goal and just gave us a bit more stability around the ground when he was floating back.
Yep, good stuff. Rick?
Yeah, the top 3 I thought were pretty clear. I had Hamish Hartlett as best on ground. I thought his game was fantastic and hard and very influential, closely followed by Robbie Gray. You could probably interchange those two quite easily. Matt Lobe, he did everything that I've been crying out for him to do, influencing around the ground. His ruck work, he's really stepped it up the last 2 weeks, which is what we need. And then it's, there's a whole host of players that could be 4th and 5th. I'd probably give Jakey Need 2 points. I thought his game was fantastic. It's not always about the number of possessions a player gets. And I like Tom Jonas for 1 point as well.
Nice, like that. For me, it was Hammer best on ground. He was the clear best in my opinion. 24 touches and a goal. Just dominated on the outside and got a lot of the inside ball as well. Robbie Gray next best on ground. 26 touches and a goal. 9 clearances, 11 inside 50s. Just what a master he's been this year. Matty Lobe third best for dominating the ruck. Tommy Jonas 4th best. Big shout out to the defenders this week. I thought they did a fantastic job. And Travis Boak was my 5th best, solely because of his clearance work and his work inside the packs, which I thought was a fantastic display as well. And a bit of an honourable mention to Matty Broadbent, who hasn't been mentioned yet this podcast, but I thought he had a fantastic game as well.
He did, yeah, Brody. The Ra.
Hurrah.
What about Pittard, Rick? What were your thoughts?
I thought Pittard was all right. I mean, I think he coughed up 1 or 2, but everyone's going to cough up balls in those conditions. It's inevitable, but you can't question his hardness at the player and at the ball. And it was an okay game. I don't think it was anything that you're going to put on your best of career tape or anything, but he did enough. And I guess we should also quickly mention too, Macca, for the people that do listen in, is the Virgin competition with the players.
Yep.
I don't know the pure title for it, but I think reading from what Ford posted up, there's 30 business or first class tickets up for grabs for the AFL players, which would almost cover our whole squad flying to Dubai in comfort. So I did put it on the Big Footy Power Facebook page, and I know Ford's put the link up on the Big Footy forum as well. So it needs everyone to get out there and share the posts on Facebook or like it and share the loving to get more points for our club to try and to win that competition.
Cheer, cheer the black and the white, honour the Magpies day and by night.
Let's jump to our SANFL review. Port played the old foe, Nord at Alberton Oval on Sunday, and we came away with a 9-point victory. Another 9-point victory this week. We won 9 goals 6 to 6 goals 15 to just about lock in the minor premiership. It'll take a bit of a miracle from Sturt, I think, to get above us now. Nathan Cracker and Robbie Young kicked 2 goals each. It was a pretty good win for the Maggies.
Oh, let's go straight to the tango in the robes. John Butcher at full back.
Yeah, and
What's
then he
going
played
on
a
there?
centre halfback. It's a a good point of difference, I think. And apparently he did a fairly reasonable job. He gave away a few free kicks, but defensively wasn't too bad.
Is this a sign for the future? Trengo up in the forward line, Butcher at centre half back.
I would like that.
I do. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, no.
I do like that idea. The only thing I don't like about Trengo in the forward line, he doesn't look like he's the best set shot for goal, and we've got enough wonky kicks on goal there. But I love his aggression and his marking target ability. So I do like that aspect of his game, and and we do need another tall defender. So maybe Butch can fill that void.
Could be, yeah. I mean, he'd be reasonable backup, I guess. You just got to see how he goes for the rest of the year, and whether they're going to play him back there for the rest of the season or not. I think Hocking said he played him there just to help him get his fitness up after his meningitis.
Well, I like what Ford pointed out, though. No different to say maybe a Roger Delaney, who I don't know if he'll be able to kick as well as Roger Delaney, but moving from forward to defence, and our club and a lot of clubs have a history of converting players. I mean, Anthony Ingerson was another one. When you think about him, he was an average forward. It became a very, very serviceable defender. So, and Johnny Butcher does have that defensive aspect of his game and fast closing down speed. So there could be something in it.
You never know. The other match-winning move I thought was Slattery going on to Matty Panos in the second quarter. Really shut him out of the game. He had 11 touches in the first quarter, Panos. I thought that was a really key move because he's been one of the best midfielders in the league this year. And, I thought that really helped us in what was what turned out to be the match-winning second quarter where we kicked 4 goals, 2 to 3 behinds.
Jarman Impey, 8 touches? Is that correct?
Yep, that looks correct. Yep.
That's very, very. That's very poor.
I don't think you
I don't
can
think you can go by that. Nah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the
he played
video,
on Simon Phillips and kept him goalless, so he had a very good game.
Fair enough. Yep. Just on Jarman, he also did a great job on Hayden Ballantyne when we played Fremantle. Do you think he'll come back in for the Freo game to do that job?
I think we'll see him in the finals. Yeah, I think he'll come back in. Who goes out, I'm not too sure.
we know who would go out for Jarman.
What, Pittard?
Mate, he's the first one selected. No captain Trav. Jasper's the first one on the whiteboard. We all know that. Talk about Tommy Logan. He'll probably have to make way for Jarman, I would imagine.
But I would have thought Trengove would come back in for
Logan. Yeah.
Nah. Trengove will come in for somebody else.
Okay.
Don't ask me.
Fair enough. The other one that I thought was pretty good was Mitch Harvey, who had a really good battle against Boulderstone in the ruck. Boulderstone, I think, killed us in round 1. And whilst he had a lot of the ball, I thought Harvey did a great job in the actual ruck work, which is an area where we've really struggled this year.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Harvey. I really can't wait to see him go next year under another big pre-season, see if he can. I mean, he could be the answer, really. He could really come in and play as a other tall forward, help chop out Lobie in the ruck. So any positive Mitch Harvey news is good.
Yep.
You're not labelling him the future, are you?
No, I wouldn't dare make that mistake twice.
The potential.
the potential. Yeah.
The recruit.
The ringer.
The ringer. Bring in the ringer. 2015 is going to be very exciting, I think, boys.
It is, absolutely.
And it's for both teams, and I think this is where a lot of people have just got a little bit ahead of themselves with our expectations on the side. But when you think of all these young boys developing, so you got Jarman Impey in his first year, who's going to be fitter and stronger. Jakey Need will be into his third year. Mitch Harvey in second year. Shaw, third year, should be coming on, hoping for great things from Butcher. And then you got Chad, who will be, 21, going 22 in his fourth year. Ollie Wines into his third. It's going to be very exciting. There's still a lot of development in a lot of these players. And I think we're forgetting that as supporters, and we're just getting too carried away with, our expectations of 2014 not being fulfilled. And I think 2015 is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and that's not even including guys like Carl Amon, Daniel Flynn, Tommy Cleary, who have a lot of potential and could add a lot to our side as well. Even
Absolutely.
Brendan Archie to add to that list too.
We're fighting with Freo for fourth and potentially North Melbourne for sixth if we're atrocious. But the cold hard facts are that if Freo play true to form and beat Brisbane, and we play true to form and beat Carlton, we're probably going to be about 4 or 5% in a game behind Freo coming into the last game of the year. Is it possible that we'd probably beat Freo by maybe, 50 points?
I don't think it'll be that much, will it?
I don't
Really?
think we need to win by 50 points.
Yeah.
I'm just
I think
guessing.
If the
here.
percents stay as they are right now, I think a 5-goal win will do it. A 4-goal win will do it. So we don't need to win by that much. We just need to win, basically. The issue comes in is how we go against Carlton and the fact that Freo are playing against Brisbane, who, despite their win on the weekend, are a pretty ordinary team, as we saw the week before when they lost by 100 points. So if Freo have a huge win and we either lose against Carlton or just scrape over the line, well, obviously if we lose against Carlton, we're out of top 4. But if we just scrape over the line against Carlton and they have a big win, then it would take something pretty special to get into top 4 from there.
Nate Fife.
I thought that all along, yeah. But with Fife's gone for 2 weeks. Do you reckon they'll try and challenge that to get it down to 1, or they'll just leave it at 2?
Nah, they'd have to challenge surely, because he looked a bit unlucky in a way, and sort of slipped up over Lewis's shoulder, and but
He's
hopefully
got a
it's
bad
2
record,
weeks.
though. So
He's got a
Fingers
bad
crossed,
record. I
too.
think it's a risk you can take. If he does get off and he
3,
comes up,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if he does get off and gets downgraded to 1 week, then that'd be fantastic for them.
Yeah, well, there's no penalty challenging, so
No.
it'd be it's worth giving it a go. But yeah,
So
look,
who do you think our opponent's going to be in the first week? Do you think it'll be the Crows? Do you think it'll be Richmond, or maybe West Coast?
I think West Coast.
I don't know.
They've got the easier run, that's for sure.
Well, I
the
think that
Crows-
percentage will get him there. Yeah, I think on that Sunday you got Adelaide, St Kilda, West Coast, Gold Coast, and that could just be both sides having an absolute shootout to try and outdo each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, how lucky are the Crows? North Melbourne going to lose Daniel Wells and Boomer Harvey. I tell you what, I hope they rub him out for 6 weeks so we don't have to come up against North Melbourne and Boomer Harvey, because he kills us. But I guess
if Adelaide win, then they're in. Simple as that. If they win this week, they're in, because they're not going to lose to St Kilda in the last round.
Well, could they jump to 7th if they win against North Melbourne? Could they finish maybe 7th on the ladder?
Oh, it's definitely possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Essendon played Carlton. Carlton would love to knock them.
Yeah,
down
that's
peg,
what I was thinking. Yeah.
And they also play the Suns, so I mean, the Suns might still think that there's still a chance for the finals, and we'll want to give them a bit of a red hot crack as well. It's definitely an interesting season in terms of the finals.
What about Richmond?
Anything could happen.
I reckon Richmond could pull a surprise in the last game. The way they're playing at the moment, Sydney might have a top 2 spot sewn up, so they might not really care all that much. They might, and I think Kennedy's going to be out, so they could rest if Richmond have everything to play for. That could be their grand final, so.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to vomit if Geelong finish 2nd. I just can't believe they're still up there doing what they do. It's just driving me crazy.
I think they're probably the worst side in the top 6, to be honest. But, maybe they are. I mean, they did the same a couple of years back when they won their last flag. I mean, they just got over the line. Everyone sort of wrote them off saying, they're getting lucky. They're winning by, a kick with a minute left. And they're doing the same this year. Who knows? I mean, all they need to do is win that first final, get the week off, and then suddenly they're in a prime position to make another grand final.
Absolutely. I guess it's sort of going to be derailed for them a little bit, because they're probably going to come up against Hawthorn. Most likely Geelong's going to finish 2nd. Hawthorn will finish 3rd now. And, so any home ground advantage will be negated by that. And yeah,
They do have a pretty good record against Hawthorn, to be fair. I don't think
They do.
I don't think they're going to fear Hawthorn. What I find funny is that the Sydney beat them by 110 points.
Yeah, well, that's right.
You know, and I remember watching that, thinking that that they'll make the 8, but they'll probably just finish 6th or 7th. You know, like they're gonna fall off, and they just won consistently. Credit to them.
I think they play with the mindset now of I don't think they care about the interstate games as long as they win their bankroll of local Victorian games. The interstate games probably don't matter. I mean, they travelled 4 times this year potentially, so. You know, they can probably just forgo those 4 games and not put in the effort and make sure they get over the line against all their crosstown rivals, and they're going to get enough to be in the hunt. I think that's how I suspect how it's going, and I think a few Victorian teams sort of come across with that mentality, and but they don't win as many of the local derbies as they need to. Cough sort of Essendon playing away. But look, I think we're going to finish 5th. That's I think if Freo lost to Hawthorn, we were going to grab 4th spot. But I think Freo knocking off the Hawks, I think 5th spot might be out of our reach now. But I think Freo are beatable. It was quite interesting too how aggressive they played against Hawthorn in relation to their attack for such a defensively minded team. It was a very attacking and high-scoring game and up until half-time.
Well, let's leave it there for now, guys. Donnie, thanks for coming back on the podcast, mate.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me.
Hope to see you on again soon.
Definitely.
Rick, as always, buddy. Tango.
Cheers, boys. Should be exciting.
Go to power.
And someone please post on the forum where I can watch the Power game on TV in the Gold Coast, please. That'd be nice.
Done.
Goes back. Lockwood can unload. Oh, he goes to the top. The old barrel. What a kick from Bowen Lockwood. Where did that come from?
Well, they put on and held the ball up. They had no one to kick it to. There was about 4 or 5.